Hello, everyone. Here is our lesson on Christian holy days. The holiest day of the year for Christians, the most sacred, solemnest, holiest day is not Christmas. It is not Christmas. It is Easter. Easter is the holiest day for Christians. It is always on a Sunday, and that's why Sunday is your holy day of the week for most Christians. The vast majority of Christians, their Sabbath, their holy day of the week is Sunday. They're Seventh-day Adventists, which retain the Jewish understanding, but most Christians, the vast majority, are on Sunday because Jesus' resurrection occurred on Sunday. Christians now call that Easter, at least in the English language, Easter. Easter commemorates Jesus' resurrection, his conquering of sin and death. It occurs after Good Friday. So we'll put Easter, so holiest day, Sunday of resurrection. So it must follow his death, which would be Good Friday. So his crucifixion, his death by the Roman Empire. On Good Friday, it's called good. Obviously, not because he died, it's because Christians know it'll lead to his resurrection. The resurrection can't occur without his death, right? Resurrection conquers sin and death, so it follows his death 3 days as predicted by the Jewish scriptures in the prophetic book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 2. The Messiah will rise after 3 days. So Good Friday leads into Easter Sunday of resurrection, the day of resurrection. Palm Sunday is the Sunday before Easter. It begins Holy Week. Holy Week is the holiest week of the year for Christians, beginning on Palm Sunday, leading into Holy Thursday. Holy Thursday would be the Last Supper. Jesus celebrating the Passover, Pesach, as a good Jew. And then he's arrested that night and he's killed the next day on Good Friday, and then he resurrects on Easter Sunday. So Holy Week begins with Palm Sunday, goes into Holy Thursday, then Good Friday, and then the next Sunday is Easter Sunday. Easter is always calculated for most Christians. It's the first Sunday following the first full moon following the spring equinox. That's when Easter is calculated, because Easter is always going to be close to Passover, Pesach, Jesus' Last Supper, to keep this all historically connected to each other, right? So that's how you calculate basically when Passover is, so it's that first Sunday following all that. So when is the spring equinox? The first full moon following the spring equinox, the first Sunday following the first full moon following the spring equinox. So Judaism has Passover, Pesach. Christians now call it the Last Supper, but Jesus was participating in Passover in Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is a holy city for Christians as well, because it is the city of Jesus' Last Supper, his death on Good Friday, and his resurrection, his conquering of sin and death on Easter Sunday. Holy Week begins on Palm Sunday, as we said, and preparation for Easter is 40 days of sacrifice, right? 40 days of fasting and sometimes abstaining. That's called Lent. Lent is an old English way of saying spring. So it's 40 days of sacrifice. So just as before Jesus began his public ministry, his 3 years of public ministry, before he started that, he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Jesus is going to pay the ultimate sacrifice with his own life. So some Christians will fast from certain meals and foods and fully abstain from certain foods for 40 days as well. That would start on a Wednesday. That's called Ash Wednesday. 40 days before Easter Sunday is Ash Wednesday. You can't count the Sundays in between. The Sundays you celebrate Jesus' resurrection every Sunday, technically. That's why you go to church on Sunday as a Christian. So you don't count the Sundays from that Ash Wednesday to Easter Sunday itself. You're kind of double counting in that sense. So that's called Lent for some Christians. The day before Ash Wednesday is called Fat Tuesday, right? That's when you pig out on all the sweets and goodies and fattening food, the donuts, the punchkis, right? Because you're going to maybe give that up for 40 days and 40 nights in preparation for Good Friday and Easter Sunday. So if the Son of God could forfeit his own life, we can give up pop, we can give up snacks, right? Is kind of the thinking there. So Fat Tuesday isn't religious, but of course, Fat Tuesday in French is Mardi Gras, right? Mardi Gras. In French, Carnival, eat the meat, eat a lot of meat, carne, meat, carnival, carnival, Brazilian culture, some Hispanic cultures, to give you some examples there. 40 days after Jesus resurrects, so 40 days after Easter, Resurrection Sunday is Ascension Thursday. Jesus ascends to heaven, will not return until the apocalypse, right? The parousia, the second coming. So that's Ascension Thursday. And Pentecost is 10 days after the Ascension, thus 50 days after Easter. Because Ascension is 40 days after Easter, Pentecost is 10 days after the Ascension. So thus it's 10 plus 40 equals 50 days after Easter. This is the descent of the Holy Spirit as the tongues of fire to the 12 apostles and their disciples that they selected in Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2. The book of the Acts of the Apostles follows the four Gospels. So that's 50 days, 50th Pentecost. That's why it's called Pentecost, 50th. This is sometimes called the birthday of the Christian church, Pentecost. The other main holy day is Christmas. This is the birth of Jesus, the celebration of the incarnation of God in the birth of God's Son, Jesus Christ. That's called Christmas. Celebrated on December 25th, regardless of what day of the week that falls in that calendar year. Though honestly, we don't have any idea. We don't have any idea as to when precisely Jesus was born. It just does not say in the Gospels, not listed in Matthew or Luke, the only two Gospels that discuss the birth of Jesus. So Mark and John, they don't include the birth. They're not concerned about it. There's the star, the magi, so you're trying to go through astronomical records and the position of the earth at those times, which can be calculated. You're looking back. So there's all this speculation that maybe he was born in somewhere between March, April, or May, what we call March, April, May in a Gregorian Western calendar, solar calendar, but we're just not conclusive. December 25th was a natural selection to help people, to help the Greco-Roman world as the empire converted from the pagan polytheism to Christianity. So December 25th was already a wildly popular day of celebration that commemorated a lot already for the Greco-Roman world. So to help facilitate that conversion from the dying pagan polytheism of those empires and cultures and to convert them over to Christianity, there was a natural demand to celebrate the birth of Jesus on a typical day, since you already had that in the Greco-Roman world with its many gods and goddesses. So it's an easy choice, December 25th. So you're celebrating Mithras, you're celebrating Saturnalia, you're celebrating the winter solstice. So so it's already a wildly popular day commemorating, celebrating different things, so that's a natural selection. Though in all reality, we don't know when Jesus was actually born. So there's a couple of other days. There's feast days for different saints and Mary and Joseph, and for Catholics and some Protestants and some Orthodox, that's an endless list. But there's also Epiphany, which for some celebrates the baptism, for some the circumcision of Jesus, the baptism of Jesus, the presentation of Jesus in the Jewish temple, the presentation of Jesus to Gentiles, non-Jews like the Magi. And then there's Reformation Day, which is basically a remembrance of Martin Luther posting the 95 Theses on the door of the Castle Church in Wittenberg, Germany, on October 31st, 1517. That's celebrated and observed only by some Protestants, usually Lutherans or within the Reformed tradition from Calvin, as well. So you have those celebrations too. All right, everyone, have a great day.